Welcome to San Francisco Planning's Archaeological Awareness video. We'll start with an explanation of what archaeological resources are and why they matter. By the end of the video, you'll know how to identify common resources and what to do if you find a possible resource on your construction site. What is archaeology and why does it matter? Archaeology is the study of past people based on the physical things they left behind. Archaeologists are like detectives. They study human-made soil deposits and objects for clues about how people lived. Each resource provides unique information about past behaviors and cultural practices that archaeologists use to tell the story of a place and its people. In other words, archaeology helps us understand who we were and who we are now. However, if an object is removed from the ground, or a deposit is destroyed by excavation before it is studied, a piece of the past is lost forever. Federal and state laws, like the California Environmental Quality Act, known as CEQA, protect these important and irreplaceable resources. Human bones and burials are also legally protected. How do you recognize archaeological resources? Whenever you dig in San Francisco, you could discover buried materials left by people who once lived here. Project sponsors and construction workers have an important role in the identification of archaeological resources because equipment operators and laborers are often the first to discover them. That's why it's important for you to be on the lookout for archaeological material whenever you're digging. In San Francisco, archaeological resources come in all shapes and sizes. So we'll show you some common objects and deposits that you might find on your construction site. You may uncover the remains of a village of the Native American Ramaytush Ohlone, or their ancestors who lived on the San Francisco Peninsula for thousands of years. The physical remnants of a village could include a layer of dark-colored soil with pieces of shell, animal bones, charcoal, or Native American tools, like arrowheads and knives, stone grinding tools, bone implements like awls, or shell beads and pendants. You might also come across resources from Spanish or Mexican colonists who occupied the peninsula from 1776 until the 1840s. Digging might expose alignments of rock that were once foundations for adobe buildings, fragments of red-orange roof tiles, or a multicolored type of ceramic called mahalaka. In the 1850s, immigrants from all over the world came to San Francisco during the gold rush. Over the next 50 years, the town transformed from a few dozen buildings to a bustling city of thousands of homes and businesses. Look for dark-colored soil deposits that are round, square, or rectangular in shape, because these can indicate the locations of wells, pits, and outhouse boxes that were used as trash bins. These deposits often contain lots of discarded household or industrial objects, like butchered animal bone, glass bottles, shoes, and ceramics. Keep an eye out for concentrations of brick or wood, because these could be the remains of old buildings. Also look out for cobblestone surfaces, rail lines, clay, wood, or rusted iron pipes, which may represent historic infrastructure. Sometimes construction uncovers remnants of ships or ship parts that were abandoned in the harbor during the gold rush and later buried by landfill. During construction, you might also uncover evidence of human remains. You might only encounter a few bones, or you might find an entire skeleton. You could also find wood or metal coffins, or chunks of cut marble or granite that were once tombstones. To recap, keep an eye out for changes in soil, such as layers of unexpectedly dark or rust-orange colored soil, or dark deposits surrounded by lighter soil. You might also notice shells or bones, or concentrations of glass, animal bone, or ceramics. What do you do if you discover possible archaeological resources? If you discover materials or soil changes of these kinds while digging, this may be an archaeological resource. Follow these 3 steps. Stop digging, protect the find, and alert San Francisco Planning's archaeological team. First, stop digging. If you uncover something you think might be an archaeological resource, like a pocket of dark soil with concentrations of shell, bone, ceramic, or glass, immediately stop soil disturbing work at the discovery location. Don't remove anything from the ground. Next, protect the discovery by covering it with a tarp or plate if you can do so without disturbing it. Create a 25-foot buffer around the discovery with fencing, flags, or stakes so everyone knows to stay out of the area. Do not dig within the buffer, but you can continue excavation on other parts of the site outside of the buffer. The third step is to alert the archaeological team at San Francisco Planning. Then send the team an email with the project address as well as a description and photographs of the discovery. A member of the archaeological team may need to inspect the find in person to determine whether further action is needed. If so, a field consultation can usually happen the same day. If you find human bones, also call the San Francisco Medical Examiner. Do not photograph human remains unless this is requested by the medical examiner or the archaeological team. Continue to protect the find in place and maintain the buffer until an archaeologist has evaluated the discovery. The archaeologist may tell you that you can keep digging, or that the find needs to be studied more before work can resume within the buffer, and an archaeological consultant may be needed. Determining how to treat the discovery may take a few hours or a few days. Excavation outside the buffer can continue in the meantime. Again, if you come across materials like those described here, stop digging, protect the find, and alert the planning department. And then be sure to follow the archaeologist's directions. The boats, buttons, and bones buried beneath the city tell the story of the people who once lived here, from the Ulamu Ohlone Native Americans and the Spanish and Mexican colonists, to the 19th century gold miners, shopkeepers, laundry washers, and dressmakers who called San Francisco their home. Archaeology helps tell the story of San Francisco through the untold stories of people's lives. We rely on you, project sponsors, site supervisors, and construction workers, to not only help our city grow, but to protect and preserve the thousands of years of history buried beneath the surface. So from all of us here at San Francisco Planning, thank you for complying with environmental laws and protecting our shared heritage.